Started. So everybody sees me in that camera?
Yeah.
Okay, so I should be orange, red, and yellow.
Yeah.
Everything around me should be blue or in that hue. If you take me out, it's going to fluctuate based on whatever's inside the camera. So the trees now should be turning red, orange, yellow, all of the different colors. So if we take me back in, Anthony, I know you're watching pretty closely. But this is a tool where we're looking for blue spots. So let's say across my face, all of a sudden something blue comes across. That's an intelligent movement. It's going to give us white lines because it doesn't see 3D the way we do. It's only looking at heat. I mean, obviously, we're going to be, whoever's using this is going to go back and forth. They're going to be like, oh, that's the wall, that's Emily, so forth and so on. It's going to put a white outline around you because you're an object to this. If we have something blue going across my face, it's probably going to put that white outline on it because it looks at it as an object. We just can't see it with the naked eye. I'm going to get excited about a 10-degree difference on things. So I think to kind of keep you somewhat occupied, we're going to go with you on this guy. You're going to hold it horizontal all night long.
How do you know he needs to be occupied?
He's my skeptic. Normally my skeptic gets a different tool, but I was kind of getting a different feel. So do you see the red square?
He's a scientific skeptic.
The red square means that it's recording.
Okay.
If it turns to a circle, tap it again. We'll have two videos I have to splice together. That's extra work for me. Don't make it a circle.
So just don't tap it.
Right.
Okay.
Ever. All right.
You can't check sports on that.
What color are we?
Not showing up.
Are you covering the camera with your finger?
What doesn't mean if you don't show up, like we're not showing
the
up.
camera's
it's to
here.
the side,
I
yeah.
was covering
He
it.
probably had his finger over it.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Are we dead?
No.
Not yet.
If you were
Are
dead,
we
you'd
red?
show up anyway.
You are red now.
All right. So, spirit boxes. Why is it still on? Just shut it off. It's being weird. So, spirit boxes. What are they? Does anybody not know what a spirit box is?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Perfect. Okay. That's okay. I need to know these things. So a spirit box is basically a radio sweeper. As you can see, it's already sweeping through the radio stations, and I already have it set to record. What we're listening for on this, now on your ghost hunting shows, you probably see them with those. I have the one that they use, and it's, if I have a large group, I separate the two different spirit boxes. So it's that very staticky sound, right? They have it set so fast that they only get disembodied voices. However, you guys are amateurs. No offense. I need you guys to listen for a little bit more. So I want you to think of this as Bumblebee from Transformers. You guys seen the movie Transformers?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bumblebee talks through the radio, correct?
Yes.
And he uses the radio DJs and all of that. So I have this set a little slower so those things come through as well. You're not going to be able to interpret all of it. It's okay. We only want the words that we can actually understand and see if it actually makes sense to what's going on with us, if what's going on with me, the tour, or the location, or the people in that location. So again, we'll kind of listen for those certain things. I'm going to, like our first location, guys, it's on it, but there's not a big backstory to it. It's more of your playground to get used to the gadgets. I bounce around with all of you individually, ask you questions, you ask me questions, so forth and so on. That we get a better gist of how all this stuff works. You're my chatterbox. You're the one that needs to be listening to this, because I know you're going to tell me what you think. So, I'm going to turn it up just so everybody kind of gets a gist of what it sounds like. And all you need to know is this volume button at the top. It's a turnstile, so you control the volume.
Okay.
Almost home. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
That was pretty clear.
But what does that mean?
Don't know yet. Got to see what else it says.
Is that a radio channel?
Yep, it's a radio
Okay.
channel. So it's okay. I want to know what the DJ says. I want to know what song lyric you hear. I want to know what the commercials say. But if you also hear anything that comes through clear, I call that a disembodied voice. That's not one of those things. It'll skip over several stations to tell us a message using the static as the energy.
So it's almost home a message.
I would say so.
Okay.
That
And
wasn't
I know what
a
it
I'm
is.
the
DJ?
chatterbox.
Yeah.
Okay.
That wasn't a DJ?
Yeah,
It
can
was
you
a
believe
DJ.
that?
No, I can't.
So
But-
he said almost home.
He
so
said almost home. So how that comes through is our spirit world is actually
Yeah.
going to use that to make sure the message they want to portray is being said through somebody else. Or if they have enough energy, they'll talk over the radio and give us a different message. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
So they're almost like anticipating what's going to come up on those radio stations
Yeah.
and saying, okay, let me pause here for a split second and let this message come through. Now, I know what almost home means, but you guys don't because you don't know the story yet.
Oh my god, wait, it means something to you?
I would say so.
In this specific
Exactly
place.
where we're standing.
Oh.
Tell us.
What?
We're
Well,
getting
what do
there.
you see on
We gotta
it?
go through all the gadgets first.
Okay.
Alright, so
Do you see anything?
alright, so again, I told you guys I'm not gonna make anything up, right?
Yeah.
So with Anthony's camera, he might come across something and we don't know what it is. It actually happened last night with my group of two that I had no explanation for what was actually happening on the camera. I used these extra gadgets to try to debunk it. Could not debunk what was actually happening. That's okay. So we're gonna actually, if he comes across a blue spot and he says, Nick, what's going on over here, or whoever gets these two gadgets, I want to debunk it first. So we all know what these are, right?
No.
Yes.
Oh, heat guns.
Right. Exactly. So the problem with this, guys, it's only going to measure surface temperature. So wherever that red dot lands, that's the temperature of that item. So it's not going to tell me the air temperature in between. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So let's say there's a blue spot on this wall. Anthony's standing where I'm at, and he says, Nick, there's a blue spot on the wall. Everything else around it is orange and red. I'm going to debunk it with this first. I'm going to run the red laser across it real slow to try to make sure everything's the same temperature. Everything's the same temperature. So now I know that that blue spot is between Anthony and the wall. So that's where this guy comes into play. That's a floating cold spot. This is a psychrometer. It's actually meant to measure humidity and ambient temperature through the probe at the top. Okay, it's a pretty simple device, but it's not always super active. We only use it when we have to debunk stuff. So then I'm going to move this probe through here and wait for the temperature to start dropping wherever that blue spot is. He's going to hold that camera there, and he's going to tell me it's up a little bit, it's up a little bit. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to start to find it, or wherever it might actually be. Does that make sense?
It's temperature and what?
Humidity.
And humidity.
I will look at humidity as well, because barometric pressure will change when there's spirit activity. However, I tell you guys just to focus on the temperature. So this is actually, the temperature is the bottom number, but these are actually going to go to you. So, yeah.
Okay.
So again, this isn't a super active tool. You can probably pocket it until we need to, but when he's walking around in certain locations with this guy, you literally need to be shooting all the different types of, like we have asphalt, we have cement, we have stucco, we have a tree. Try to make sure everything's kind of lined up with what he's
the whole
doing.
time? Okay.
Yeah, so it is a laser, it will shoot super far.
Okay.
I know, right?
What do you mean? Like to not distract them? Or
That will get me arrested in jail time.
okay.
Let's put it that way.
Don't point
What,
it at
the thermometer?
vehicles.
Yeah, lasers.
In like driver's eyes.
Okay.
Oh,
Then
driver's eyes. Yeah.
Or mirrors.
Or pilot's eyes.
Pilots too. We've actually had a lot of helicopters around because of all the protests, and there's certain areas where I like to kind of test things out with the detectors in the building. I'm going to do it because if somebody overshot the building, they would have hit the helicopter. Like, please don't raise gunfire on them. It does not see through glass.
Doesn't.
It does not.
I
It looks at
had it.
glass as an object. So what we look for on that, and there's actually the last building we check out actually has a story behind it. But if something's influencing the glass from the inside, obviously blue is cold. But if it turns a darker blue and then black in one side, of the panel, then we know we have some paranormal activity.
What do I press on this thing? If
Like when it goes off, there's
Yeah.
one button right down here. That's it.
only when it goes off?
Yep.
Or
And
just-
again, we won't use that too often. It's
Okay.
only when we're trying to debunk stuff. So again,
Okay.
it's almost like a pocket item
All
in
right.
case we need to use it. Electromagnetic fields. So what does this guy do? You guys probably seen these on your ghost hunting shows, and it's the exact model that they use. It's a very sensitive EMF meter. It measures 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. The first one is natural, comes from the earth. That's why it's green. The next one is from our cell phones and devices and man-made objects, so wiring, any kind of electrical work. It's going to give us a pulse or a rhythm. Okay, I think my watch just gave it something. But anyway, it's going to give it a little pulse. We don't want those either. We want the erraticism. We want this thing to go absolutely crazy. So when this thing starts going off, I'm going to watch it for like 5 to 10 seconds if it's going a little nuts, just to see if there's a rhythm there. So when it is going,
Beep or it's a light?
there's no beeping, there's no noise to
Just
this
the
guy
light.
at all. Yep, that's it. That one's going to go to you.
Thanks.
So I'm going to need you to kind of, yeah, it's pretty, right? And we're going to use that to kind of communicate too. When it's really going nuts, like we can use, if we're not getting anything elsewhere, like spare boxes and whatnot, we'll use that to try to communicate because it's much simpler.
So going nuts would be these different lights lighting up.
And it's not a pulse. So if you can't
Oh,
tap your
okay.
foot to it, it's
Okay.
going nuts. That's what I
Okay.
look for. Let's see.
It sounds like that's really
So we're going to try something else. Since you're measuring basically the energy around us, the theory is, and this is relatively new, I've been testing this out, it only works about 50% of the time, so we'll see if it does anything for us tonight. This is a simple battery tester, okay? A bunch of rubber bands on it to hold the cell battery in place. So this little lever that's supposed to measure it, there's no spring load on it, so I made my own. So that's why the rubber band's there. It's not manipulating the energy in any way. So this guy's been kind of weird. It sometimes wants to not measure anything. Again, it's a cheap little device, and I was like, we'll add it to the EMF person. So let me see if it's actually intact.
EMF person. What's that?
That's Olivia.
Okay.
It's just the EMF.
Yeah, EMF.
Because I'm backed up.
All right, as everybody can see, it's on the green. So in a 2-hour time span, it should move into about the yellow. So it is right there. So it should go,
Okay.
because it will drain the battery slightly. Nothing major. If it touches the red, something's obviously draining the battery to try to communicate with us. So again, don't be staring at the needle all night. Do you have a pocket, or you can even put this in your purse for now? We will pull it out from time to time, and I'll say, where's our battery tester at?
Okay.
Just, again, it's kind of like the yellow device that she has. So,
Thank you.
Olivia, do you want to leave your sweater in the trunk?
No, it might rain.
Okay.
Can you tie it on your waist?
Or maybe I'll leave it. Sure, I'll leave it. Thank you.
You can put it in my bag if you want.
Whatever you want to do. Whatever makes you guys comfortable. Alright. Oh, you're welcome. I'll show you. So sometimes my daughter's with me, and I'll tell her to run back to the car for something because I forgot my drink or something, and she never locks it back up again.
How old's your daughter?
That one's 14. I have another one that's 20.
Very nice.
So, believe it or not, half of these used to be her birthday gift, and I took them back when I quit my job. And I'm like, Dad started something new. Give me your stuff. She's cool because then she actually gets to come out. She knows the stories, and she's actually every once in a while, like I'll test her on the way to drive down and say, hey, can you remember the Pinckney Mansion site story, or can you remember the Philadelphia Alley story? You know, and I'll let her do one of the stories. You know, just,
nice.
so she gets into it. All right, so this is the neuralizer for Men in Black. None of you are gonna remember anything. Nobody got the joke, really?
No, I get
There's a
it.
big
Emily.
flash. All
No,
right.
I get it.
I'm a corny joke guy.
I love it.
It's actually a grid pen.
Wow.
Again, we have lasers that'll get Nick into a lot of trouble if it's flashed the wrong way. But let me show you what this would actually do. So you can actually see my hand as it comes through, but it doesn't show up. You don't have any lasers right here until something actually passes through it. So everybody kind of stare at my forehead for just a second. You see the peripheral vision coming back at you?
Yeah.
You don't need to be staring down at the dots. You will get busy.
Yeah.
So this will actually help us see things that we can't see with the naked eye. Again, super long lasers. So just to give you an example, there's nobody in that building, but take a look over there. This will get me into a lot of trouble.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we will keep this down. So there's device number 1 for you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're gonna get another one too.
He's getting 2 of them, actually.
Multi-text.
One might be enough for me.
He's kidding.
Multitasking.
He's kidding.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We have another one. This one gives us boxes. So why do I care about boxes versus dots? So let's say we actually capture something right here. We have it on video. I have a camera to hand out too, so let's see who's kind of might go. No, you've already got 2. We might hand you the camera just in case. So let's say it actually comes up here. I can then put that picture into 3D software, and then we have a full 3D picture of the apparition that we caught. I haven't caught anything with this guy yet, so hopefully you're the first. It's relatively new.
Will you caught something with the green one?
Very cool looking.
So you don't cross the streams. Normally how I use when I'm working with both of them is it's literally side by side. I point them straight down and go out to where there's like a 5-foot radius in front of me. And that's about as far as I'll take it. Now I'm really looking for those things in between to make sure it's going to show up. So I've had weird things happen with that green one. I've been using it for almost 2 years now. I've seen weird occurrences with it.
Dad!
Sorry.
You're good.
I was trying to find the on-off switch.
Yeah, that one has a toggle. The other one you have to actually hold the button.
And don't cross the stream.
Don't cross. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's really, it's easier to get in there.
Try not.
Can you handle both lasers?
We'll find out.
Okay.
If not, he's got pockets. He'll do one at a time. All right, so.
He had a martini. Yeah.
Oh, this ought to be a good
Oh,
time.
just
Wrap me out.
Trust me, I've had drunk groups. And I'm actually breaking away from that silent partner I was telling you guys about starting in January. So this will all be me, and one of the disclaimers is no intoxications. Like, no, don't come to this drunk. I take this very seriously, so it's one of those, like, I've had to end tours. Like, you guys are going to get me in a lot of trouble. You know, we're running around, you guys are being loud, you know, they're not following the rules. I mean, there's rules to this kind of
bad.
stuff.
Yeah,
it
of course.
they were loud. Simple point and shoot camera. Have you ever used one of these before?
I think so. Like from.
You look a lot younger than me. It's the only reason why I'm asking.
You've had one.
Yeah, I had one.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Simple
As a
on and off
child.
button. Right here in the center. You can just leave it on your wrist if you want to, and then obviously the big button takes the picture.
Okay.
The rule of thumb is that nobody can be in a picture besides me, if that's the shot, just because you guys didn't sign waivers. I don't do legal stuff either.
Okay.
So,
But
again,
it's just pictures, not video.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got the video.
He does. Are you gonna tell?
Gotcha.
There will be direction with every location.
Okay, because I'm not really sure.
How do I know when to take a photo?
I'll give you that. I'll
You'll
show you
know.
that
Tell
too.
us. Okay.
Should I leave this on though?
All right.
If it shuts off, not a big deal. Again, I even point out some of the touristy areas, like, hey, that's a great tourist shot if you want to grab that. But there will be certain places where I'm like, just start shooting photos.
Okay.
All right, so I use a couple of devices on my phone too. I have to be involved. So I do have a backup EMF in case your battery drains. Again, same theory that the battery tester is using, but I have one. It's not super great, but it does work in a pinch. So I do use two different types of spirit boxes on my phone. So very similar to yours. This one is also sweeping radio stations, but it gives us the word for us. I don't have to listen for it. It's going to keep it right there in the center and then put it in a list for us. So my tour last night actually had 72 terms. That's a lot. I usually only get about 50 to 60 in a 90-minute time. So we're going to clear them out because they already have their list, and this is going to stay on for you guys all night long. 80% of this is BS. Doesn't mean anything. This is meant to be a game and a hoax. I will flat out put that out there to you. The other 15 to 20% that I find, I will give you links to show you why it links to the location of where we were at.
Cool.
So again, like Almost Home, this place was actually named after a football player, Big John, and this would have been where he hung out. So it was Almost Home. It was named after him.
Wow.
This place was named after him?
We're going to get into that story. But, I used one other spirit box. So this one is, I know this is a lot of talking at the beginning, but again, there's a lot that goes into this. So this one is actually a reverse spirit box. It is simply a man and a woman saying words backwards. It's going to sound like complete gibberish when I turn it on, but when I get something that comes through in forward motion, that's an answer to one of the questions I was asking, we know we have an intelligent response.
Whoa.
It happens all the time. That's
Sorry,
why
I
they use
don't
them.
understand.
Yeah, what do you mean a man and a woman talking backwards?
Let me turn it up.
'Cause that's creepy.
It is creepy. So I debunked this. The app claims that it's actual radio stations being played backwards. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I have enough audio software because of everything that I do that I put it into my software and flipped it backwards, reverse, so it would come through forwards. It's literally a man and a woman just saying random words.
So they're just doing it for the app. Like, it's
Correct.
just a thing.
Just
Okay.
a thing. So I'm going to actually play an EVP for you that I got from this. And it was from the Pinkley Mansion site, and I was talking about a woman that was from England. So I want you to keep that in mind when I play this for you, because I had no clue what it meant at the time. One of my guests had to tell me, and it made complete sense after that when I looked at as soon as I find it, when I looked at all the evidence the next morning is when it all clicked together. So I'll explain that after.
And
you guys
this is
listen.
playing in reverse.
Breakfast? Baked beans.
Okay, so that came from that reverse spirit box, clear as day. So when I looked at the evidence the next morning, that spirit box told me, I'll fix you, and then the word list that I showed you guys earlier had the word tea in it. They came in that order. I'll fix you, baked beans breakfast, and tea, all within a 2-minute time frame. So, do you see how this works as a collective the next morning?
Yeah,
I
it's
have
a
to-
lot to piece together.
But that's my job.
Right.
I'm just so. How does like a man and a woman saying words backwards? How does that pick up?
So
They're using that to come
they're
through.
using it to come through, and they're manipulating the static noise plus those sounds to make the message that they want to tell me.
Okay.
So notice everything you guys are using is electronic. There's no Ouija boards here, there's no dowsing rods, there's no tarot cards. No manual devices that I can manipulate myself. I have nothing on me to make the EMF go off when I need to. It does what it wants to. I am a true believer, and obviously because I have the evidence to prove it, that the spirit world can manipulate electronics based on the signals and the energy that comes out of our devices. All of your devices. So again, I've had the camera drain when I just charged it that morning on my first tour. Couldn't use it on the second. That kind of thing. It happens all the time. So again, you guys all have electronics. In the event I'm actually going through a session where I'm asking questions, the answer can go to your spirit box, that audio, his audio, or either of my two spirit boxes. You see how many pieces of communication we actually have?
Yeah.
There's a lot. So if you're asking questions, I might get an answer. And I'll ask questions that are odd that you don't know about. So if you turn around and say, what's the number 4 mean? And I'll say, I just asked her how many kids she had. So the answer went to you instead of me.
So having more only helps. It's not like if you had fewer, they would come through those.
So when my daughter and I are watching all the crazy TV hype of the ghost hunting shows, we pretty much take notes of what not to do. Because they're trying one thing at a time. Now sometimes we're going to spread out a little bit. You guys are all family and you want to stick together, but they'll be, I'll be like, all right, you two team up, and you go by yourself and whatever. But it's that way that I can get more communication out of all the different devices and collect more data that's relevant. So, where are more questions? You guys have a lot, which is cool.
I'm just picturing like spirits like adapting to like every new decade of devices, and like in the 1800s them coming over like over the sextant, and now they're like over the iPhone.
It's more like they don't look at it that way. So you're going to hear, instead of me saying the word device, or can you tell me this on my cell phone? We might be talking to somebody from the 1700s. They have no idea what the hell we're talking about. Tell me what you can use this box. The word box is pretty universal. Use this box with the blue light to tell me what you want to say. I will use those type of terms.
They don't have enough energy to actually like appear. But
I
they
just
come
mean
through this.
we have a lot more devices that are manipulating wavelengths now than we used to. So
We do.
Yeah.
Again, stuff like this app, I still have people texting me. At the top of your evidence page, I have a list of all the devices that we use, plus the free versions of the apps, so you guys can check this stuff out for yourself. I still get screenshots from a year ago. Look what this I caught at this particular location. Can you help me figure out what's real and what's not?
Like
Yeah.
later they're doing
yeah.
it? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So like they're asking me what their word list means. I'm like, well, you got to give me a little bit more background. You know, I need to know where you're at, what's going on. Is Gabrielle a real person? You know, whatever. Because names pop up too.
Yeah.
That was our waitress tonight.
Gabrielle.
Gabriella.
No, Gabriella.
Okay, I got the word arms. So again, I'm always going to try to link something to the word. But again, your word list in the morning, only 20% of it is actually going to have links relevant.
You just got that now?
It just came up. Okay, so we start here on purpose. Okay, this is Big John's. We just kind of knew a little bit about him. But Big John, oh, we didn't cover COVID crap. Sorry, so everybody have a mask with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
do.
Okay, just because they are ticketing without warning. I told you I have epilepsy. I can go about 10 minutes. It's about my max. Then I have to take a breather. You'll start to see my mask because I start to hyperventilate. It's not a good sign. So if I have to get close to you, I will mask up to kind of work with you on your device. There'll be certain places where I say mask up, where it's a little bit more popular.
Okay.
We'll just say that my
Sure, no
competitors...
problem. Happy to wear 'em.
You mean you can go 10 minutes moving without stopping?
Means I can wear a mask for about 10 minutes.
Oh, wear a mask.
Yeah. All of your devices have been disinfected, and I do that about 3 times a day, based on how many tours I have and me using the devices in the morning. So it's about 3 times a day. I have the cleanest devices, I swear, ever, because they go through so much. And I have hand sanitizer in case anybody needs it. Medical masks, I do have extras in case one of you has one and your strap breaks or something crazy happens, so I have backups for you. No problem. So
it's okay not to wear masks amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
You'll tell us when we need.
right.
Okay.
And you guys are all family anyway. So
We're all
if-
family, yeah.
Yeah,
Been
so if
together
the cop
for a while.
actually stops, they're going to probably ticket me instead of you guys. And I'm I'm going to be like, look, I got my medication in the car if you want to check it out. It's hard for me to wear. It's a medical condition.
Okay.
So, but anyway, and I haven't seen anybody get ticketed yet anyway. I just have to put that out there so you guys are, aware of it.
Okay.
So, Big John. He, football player, 1947 New York Giants. And this place was named after him, Big John. And he used to sit in the back of the bar. And we have the Citadel nearby too. So it's about a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles from here. But the cadets would come down after training and have a few drinks. And Big John would let the bartender know if they were of age or not because he knew everybody in town. So one night, the bartender cut these two guys off. They're not of age. They get mad. They leave. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the building. Big John sees all this, pulls out his gun, shoots one, kills one, and the bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. The bullet hole is still here. Now this is clean rum bar, or at least it used to be. And Paul, the previous owner, did not cover up the bullet hole. He didn't fill it in. So it's still that he said that at times people sitting in the front of the bar near that bullet hole start to not feel well. Headaches, dizziness, queasy. A little bit of weirdness for paranormal activity. Bring it up on purpose. If any of you is not feeling well, I need to know. The slightest bit of headache. I've had people pass out. You have a headache now?
Yeah, but I usually do.
Okay. If it gets to the point where you can't walk, which...
That won't happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Just saying. I've literally had practicing witches on this tour that look at me and say, this is too much. Can I go home? And by all means, go home. I know how this is going to affect me. I already told you I'd take stuff home with me from time to time. But you guys, it's serious for me. The first time somebody passed out on my tour, the next day I was in CPR class. I never want to use it. So, luckily I usually have a nurse on board.
No, you don't.
Not this night? Alright, so the other story here, have you guys taken other ghost stories here, right? Or other-
Yeah.
One other one in Charleston.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so any history tours?
Yeah, but
Ages
more than
ago.
10 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they probably talked about the big earthquake of 1886, and they call it the big earthquake because it's been our only earthquake. This is where the first death occurred. So apparently, a piece of the mantle from the front of the building cracked off, struck somebody in the head, killed him. Paul used to say he saw dark shadows right here on East Bay Street. I don't have any proof of that, but I trust Paul. He's a good friend of mine. He actually let me start my tours here when I was first getting started, so I kind of have to go with that. I want to tell you guys that today is the anniversary of Big John's death. So he died 18 years ago. I think he was 73. So I give you guys facts like this, and they're quick and short, in case we hear the number 73, or in case we hear 18, 28. Those are all numbers that are definitive to what happened to him. So again, those are the kinds of clues you guys are going to get from me. So I'm not going to do big, dramatic, theatrical whatevers. It's going to be stories like what I just told you. Quick and short. Here's some data and facts. Here's what we're going to do with these separate devices. Let's go.
What's almost home mean?
This would have practically been where John lived.
So he's almost
It
home.
was almost home. Where this would have been considered almost home. Because he was here so much.
So hearing that meant to you, maybe he said that.
And again, with this being the anniversary of his death, I'm expecting some of his teammates to come through on the next location. Him possibly, his name popping up, his number coming up. He was a football player.
What was his number?
52.
Was he black?
He was white.
Oh.
So, he's a pretty big guy as a linebacker.
I know, it just sounded like a black voice
Oh, the voice doesn't matter.
to me. Oh.
Because again, it's the radio voice. It's the
Oh.
words that matter.
Electronics. Yeah.
Right.
Yep, it's the words that matter. So, honestly, guys, this place would be the ideal place for me to start my stories in the cemetery store. Where it'll be half ghost hunting equipment, and the other half would be paranormal books. Obviously, I'm a writer. But the upstairs, I would actually rent out as a hotel, as a haunted night. And everybody gets a ghost kit and an hour training session with me. And then they do their ghost whatever inside, and then I upload all the data for them, just like I do for you guys on the tour. But we'll charge them $500 a night. And we will get it. So my wife will actually have a studio, like, because she's in photography and graphic design. She will take your guys' thrill ride photo and in her green room. She'll put everything together, and you guys will do the thrill ride thing. So when we come back, you guys get your photo. It was all part of the tickets, and there you go. It'll be a big thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah, about 2 years. You guys ready to go ghost hunting? I talk too much. You guys gotta
We're
shut
ready.
me up from time to time.
I'm ready.
Let's go this way.
Are you seeing?
Yeah.
Alright, let's get everybody gathered around here. There's a couple things on this corner I want to point out. Crew Cafe is said to have a haunting there and a suicide apparently occurred there. The research that I do, I normally go straight into the land and find out the and make sure it's legit. However, that used to be a slave home, so I don't know if that build right there is a reconstruct, if it's a rebuild. Obviously, a slave home would not have been that large, nor did it have an address. So, me trying to research where a suicide occurred, I'm not getting much. I did get an EMF upstairs, and the meter went off a little bit in one of the rooms. They asked me to do a full investigation. Thank you, COVID, for interrupting. I'm about to get back in touch with them because everything slows down for me after October. History buffs, stop sign down there. Revolutionary War. Everybody picture Charleston, the peninsula in your head. It used to be much skinnier back during the Revolutionary times. And a ship rolled up, the water is actually behind you, this way, shoots a cannon and lands right at that stop sign. It was still a neighborhood at that point. There was no deaths, no tragedies, no paranormal activity. Just one of those little history tidbits that I found that actually falls in line with my tour. I think I'm going to add it in for the history buffs. I've got to make everybody happy.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, where are you guys standing now? We're standing at the Red Barn lot. This is where they keep the horses for all the carriage rides. The horses are in the building. So, those of you with lasers, all lasers, including the thermal.
Yeah.
Just heard something. Oh, nope.
No,
Just
not
missed it.
in the horse's eyes, Dad.
Yeah, you will spook the ponies. They will kick and scare the hell out of ponies. So, anybody with lasers, nothing on that building. Especially the lasers.
Dad,
He just went right in. Like, yes, I'm in.
So they were calling the laser.
Coach called my name.
The guy
Get
I
the
thought so
bed.
too. I thought you were saying pointing there.
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. This is the same red barn that they kept the horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So we're talking 1860s to 1920s. That's the only history I have of this place. That's it. I get all kinds of activity here from Big John. I might have a stable boy come through. This is a place we spend about 10 minutes here, so everybody kind of gets a good gist of their gadgets. So thermal imaging, there's a ton of different types of material here. We have metal, asphalt, brick, wood, and
oh wow.
concrete. So there's going to be all kinds of things. Oh, is your AMF doing something?
Yeah.
So
It's like,
sometimes it'll start here, sometimes it'll wait till we're all the way at the end. That's kind of like a, hey, wait, I want to chat now. So, going to have to keep an eye on that. So, Emily.
Yeah.
Spirit box.
Yeah.
So let's talk how to use that thing.
Okay.
It's not about just asking a bunch of random questions and waiting for answers. It's literally finding one question that's a non-yes or no question. So it's not a, hey, is somebody here? I'm an English guy. The S and the O of the phonetic English language are too common in other words. I don't want yes or no questions. So, what color is the bond? Now you know you're listening for the color red. You're not going to keep asking it over and over and over again. You're going to ask it once, wait about 30 seconds, and possibly rephrase the question. So, can you tell me what color the barn is?
Okay.
Like, the person's right in front of you. They're not in the box.
Okay.
They're having a conversation. That's
Okay.
how that's going to go. If you don't get an answer after about 3 or 4 tries, you can literally say, I'm going to try another question. Can you tell me what's inside the barn?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, I mean, you can pick your own questions, but you do whatever you
I'll
want to
start
do.
with yours for inspiration.
And most people do. So, again, just loud enough so you can hear it. If I'm trying to think, you're going to actually team up with Olivia anyway, so you can kind of follow. Wherever she gets a hot spot, that's where you're going to start your sessions.
Okay.
You're close to the barn, keep it just so you can hear it. If you're about halfway this way, turn it up as loud as you want to. I just don't want the horse to get spooked.
Okay.
As far as your guns go, you two are going to kind of team up, and you're going to be shooting at different places, so he can get kind of a gist of how the different places look. So metal, asphalt, wood, brick. And again, we're going to spend about 10 minutes in here. As far as your lasers, again, just like I said, straight down. Just try to keep them safe, because I mean, there's businesses and houses and all kinds of stuff around us, and you're going to go as slow as you possibly can, and just kind of wait to see if anything come up in your personal vision. You can follow whatever group you want to. So I kind of left you with the, what's the word in football where it's a, I don't follow sports, where it's a bye. So you're the bye. You get to choose whatever you want to. Now the tip of your green pen actually turns. You want to try to keep it as many dots as possible. So, I mean, you actually have quite a bit there, so you're good. But in case it twists and all of a sudden it looks like you don't have enough, you can just twist it. So the very tip. There you go.
So keep it the maximum?
Yep, as many as you can get out of it. So I'm going to do my own spirit session and then kind of watch you guys and see who's having any kind of trouble. We're going to spend about 10 minutes here and we'll see if we can actually capture it.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough?
So we're doing. He's gonna keep pointing.
Yeah. So basically, you guys are
around?
just going to kind of circle around. Just make a lap.
Okay. And I'm gonna keep this pointed to the ground.
I would just say keep your one little dot out of the windows of the barn.
Okay.
You can shoot anywhere else
Just
but those
like-
windows.
Okay.
But keep it in the lot.
But keep it on and walk around.
Yep.
Okay.
Kind of get those different temperatures so he can get a gist of how that actually operates.
Maybe she has like a real.
So on your EMF, go ahead and try to find.
So
where
what temperature does it say?
75.2.
I have one question. What is the pothole?
It's in the car. 75 now.
That's the fastest way to get kicked out of the tour.
75.3.
Mine says 77.
2.
I don't understand what I'm looking for here.
75.3.
I'm looking for blue.
I'm confused myself. Nothing much is happening. 75.3.
Wait, 75. Yeah.
74.8. Ooh, it got colder. Does that mean anything?
I don't know. Mine's getting hotter.
Now it's warmer.
It does look kind of weird.
5.7. Anything happening for you?
No, I just see them. I don't understand what I just. Instead of blue, when it flashes blue.
Like if some blue comes through, goes across your field. 74.4. It's my hottest when I point it to him. 76.1.
You're 98 degrees.
Oh, that's pretty normal temperature. Let me see, what are you? I won't point to your eyes. You're 78.6. Ooh, 83.6, Anthony.
What is my temperature? I'm actually don't have COVID.
2.4.
Because
According to this, you're 86.
your head says 96.5.
Perfect.
I'm cool, right?
You're perfect.
98.6 is supposed to be.
Oh, nice. And not surprisingly, usually on the cooler side. Let me see those sandbags. Those
There's
look
something-
like they could be spooky.
There's something hot in the golf cart that we should probably go check out.
What?
Yeah, you got a cup?
Yeah.
Hold on, we think we're onto something.
You guys are on the right track. So are you getting the gist of how that thing works?
I am. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be looking for in terms of irregularity.
Okay, so
No, she got something cool.
when did it come up?
Misleading.
Fair enough. We'll take it. So what you're looking for, so I try to always have a point of reference, like a person in the picture, because they're
Right.
going to be orange, red, and yellow. That's a good point of reference.
Right.
So what you're really looking for is a, like in this blue area,
Something flashes.
well, is something turning darker blue. Like that dark blue area that your crosshairs are on now, like that looks pretty standard because it's in a shadow. So
Right.
it is going to be like a degree or two cooler than the teal, like the lighter blue.
Right.
But if something obviously starts moving and you have a blue ball come up out of that, then there's obviously something happening there.
Okay.
So
All right.
that's really what I'm. Or if something turns black, black is a good 5 to 10 degrees difference.
Black. Okay.
But a blue movement coming out of there, I would take that as a reference.
Okay.
And I've had things where, because I mean, the summertime with a lot of people wearing shorts,
Right.
you know, somebody's just kind of standing there holding it. The word beast. But just kind of holding it as I'm telling the rest of the story, and all of a sudden I get a blue flash across somebody's legs. You know, something like that, because their legs are flesh that are going to be orange, red, and yellow.
Right. So you're gonna see it.
Right, it's going to be pretty prominent.
Right.
But I like to have somebody orange, red, and yellow in the shot, because then it gives you a nice variation of temperature. So when I go back to look at it, I can say, okay, that's 5 degrees more, that's 5 degrees more, 5 degrees more, but that black spot is obviously 10 to 15 degrees colder than the rest of the blue.
Okay.
That's kind of how I look at it.
All right.
So, but that's, I mean, nice slow pans. Oh, the other thing with that too is it doesn't have the camera technology of our cell phones these days. It's really the thermal imaging. So if you move too quickly, it will pixelate. But the nice slow pans, and it will calibrate for temperature checks about once every 3 minutes. You've probably already seen several of them.
Yeah.
Where it actually pauses for a second.
Yeah.
It's just calibrating temperature because you're moving.
Okay.
These really aren't, I mean, I know it's on a cell phone, but they're really meant for ghost hunting, to be set up in a room with one of those laser grids, and you walk away from
And
it
you just leave it.
yeah, and you see what happens later. So,
Okay.
but yeah, you're just kind of the assist, and if something comes up, you're the debunker. So we're gonna find where cold spots are, and you're gonna tell us if it's real or not.
For the most part, I see like in the mid 70s, except when it's on. I put it on people, and then it's like 81.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
And those are the orange, reds, and yellows for him.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right, everybody got kind of a good gist of how theirs work.
Yeah.
Are you getting anything else on your spirit box?
Yeah, we got one said misleading and then one said follow.
Follow.
I'm not liking that too much.
Oh.
You don't like that?
Not based on what I have here.
What's it say there?
I got infested beast.
Oh,
So when you got misleading, I got discount.
what'd you get?
Discount.
Oh.
Like a coupon discount. And then you said follow, and I was like, oh, it says beast, but what's it say before that? It says infested. So again, I had to take that 80-20 rule to kind of balance things out. So again, how high was your spike going? Did you go all the way up to red, or did you stay in the orange?
No, it's been going up to red periodically.
Periodically. So we're not crazy into the red where it's like really wanting to hang out with us.
No.
So still say we're safe. So we're in good place. But I want to actually teach you guys some history. So now that you guys all know what your gadgets are, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
What's that, hon? Have you been Anthony's Ice Cafe?
No.
That place is great.
Is it?
Excellent.
You've been there?
Oh, one of my favorites. All-time
The
favorites.
one that's closed down? Oh wait, no, it's right
No,
there.
right there, yeah.
Right there. No, I've never even heard of it.
Maybe we should hit up that for lunch tomorrow.
Yeah.
Take off.
Might see Big John.
Yeah.
Let me ask.
Thank God we're of age.
Oh, are you okay?
All right.
Who did that to me?
You okay?
Yeah. Oh, it was just going red. It's going red again.
It's a good sign. So I promise this isn't going to be parking lots all night long. Let's get you guys out of the way because this isn't a parking lot. We can do come in and out. So let me tell you what's going on in here. So this actually used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansions. So I told you guys about the baked beans breakfast. You guys listened to that. This is where that all occurred. So the mansion would have been in the front. Eliza's garden would have been lined up with that blue dumpster, and then the slave homes would have been back here where we're standing. So that gives you the layout of the land. So who the heck were Eliza and Charles Pinckney? Charles was a big politician. I want to say he was a governor. I'm not big on politics, but he was a governor from South Carolina for a short period of time. And they had a son named Charles. So there was the second Charles, and then they had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. The son was obviously raised here. No other ghost tour talks about this place. The sad thing is they're going to put a big, giant commercial hotel here, and they're not going to do an archaeological dig to find the artifacts underneath. So let me tell you about Eliza, because she's the one that likes to chat with us. So Eliza was supposed to get married. You getting more stuff? She's still going?
Just into the orange.
Okay. It goes nuts in here. So if I had a grand finale, guys, this would be it, because this is where most of the activity that I normally get. I mean, I get stuff elsewhere too, but this is most of it. But anyway, Eliza married Charles so she could stay here in the United States. Obviously, she's from England. We talked about that earlier. Her dad was dying, at least he thought he was, and he wanted all of his kids home, and she didn't want to go, because she didn't believe he was dying. So she got married and became a citizen and stayed here. we're talking colonial times, so this would be in
Oh,
the
it's
17th.
going into red.
Yep.
Sorry.
Every time I bring up Eliza's name, she'll start to, okay, I'm here. That's kind of how she goes. So, anyway, Dad got better, and he starts sending gifts over from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant indigo. You guys been driving around town, you've been seeing the name indigo on a lot of different things. This is why. She planted it here, and it turned into a big giant cash crop for Charleston after our rice plantations went downhill. So they had to move the crop over to Sneak Farm in Mount Pleasant. So what is indigo? It makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. We still use it today. It's a big deal. So not only, we're talking 1760s at this point, so not only did she start the cash crop and make it a business here in the States, but she was also the businesswoman that sold it overseas to make it successful for not just Charleston, but for the United States colonies at that point. So huge, huge deal with Eliza. She loves to come through at the word thin. Kind of hard to say who it's talking about because they're all pretty thin. But anyway,
Maybe it was you.
a couple things about Eliza that you can ask on your spirit box. And again, I want you two to kind of team up wherever she gets her red spikes, because it's pretty much going to stay in the orange here, and it's going all over the place.
Yeah, it's going red a lot.
Yes. So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So find out what her maiden name was. Not her middle name, her maiden name, because she goes by Eliza blank Pinckney. So you can ask, hey, can you tell me what your maiden name is? They had 4 kids. I already told you one named Charles. They only had one daughter. Find out what the daughter's name was. It's a 3-syllable name. It's a lot to muster, 3 syllables. See if that'll come through. And I'm only giving you questions that I've gotten answers to multiple times. You can find out how old she was when she died, how old she, or what she died from, where is she buried, and where did she die. Like, these are all great questions. Anything wrapping around her death, she's willing to talk about. You can ask her birthday, she'll tell you. You can ask her anything you want to, as long as it's a non-yes or no question. You can ask what happened to the mansion. Nice, slow, absolutely no pictures in here. People get weird about their vehicles. So just kind of keep it. I have caught shadow people here when I first started using the camera, but then a couple nights after that, people are coming out screaming about me taking pictures. But nice slow sweeps from you on the camera. Laser grids. Just keep in mind some vehicles might be sensitive with their alarm system, so try to keep it off the vehicles.
Okay.
If I was a car thief, Anthony, this would be the best tool in the world because it's going to tell me how long those cars have been here based on their heat signature.
Huh.
So kind of think of it that way. As far as the EMF goes, again, you're going to team up with her. Where's our battery tester at now?
Have it.
Where's it at on the scale so we can actually see it?
Oh, this thing. Oh,
No.
it's going all the way to
No, the other.
No, the other
yeah.
thing.
So, in the event that something actually wants to pass through it, it went all the way down. This is how much that's in there. So, like, it went all the way down to the bottom.
Wait, why was that something?
It's kind of crazy.
What?
The car's hot. So.
What about that car?
It's hot, but not as hot. So that guy's new.
This guy's filled with spirits.
I think he's got to be.
Hold on. You guys see anything on
Only 75.9. You were saying that light doesn't often flash. I wonder if you like pointed at that flashing light.
That's what I was doing. I was trying to do that before.
I'm going to try to keep that laser below the walls.
Oh, okay.
We'll start shooting through windows. They're still open over there.
Okay.
You're going to see different kinds of asphalt here too, because of the mud, the water,
Right.
the gravel. So this is another great place to get the different variations. So if something starts moving, it's obvious that it's moving.
Right.
And I'm going to go to where I normally gather the most activities instead of staying put.
Same.
I'm gonna go too.
Eliza, tell me how many people are with me tonight. Together, yes. You want to give me a number all together? What's the number all of us together? Watch the vehicles. Some of them are sensitive.
Oh, right.
I've had one car alarm go off one time.
Ooh.
Thanks for giving that warning. Eliza, how many of us are all together? Count us up. Now we've also caught thermodynamics in reverse. So what does that mean? I mean, somebody was had a video in a stationary spot. They actually watched something grow in a matter of seconds. So it went from 8 to 7 in 5 seconds. That's pretty quick generation speed. Now, law of thermodynamics says you can't create or destroy temperature. It only fluctuates with balance. So the fact that we have something growing in food, there's something nearby that's growing forward.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if it went up 5 degrees here, it went down 5 degrees over here. But we used to capture that cold spot. That was enough proof to me in that short amount of time was exploded.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense. And he didn't realize he was doing it. He was just kind of hanging out and just talking to me. And he just kept the
Yeah.
camera stationary.
Wow. So you think that light doesn't blink every day? Not
It
every
doesn't.
time.
I hear 6 nights a week.
I think that that means they're doing something.
I think that because it's a weaker style of a light versus the left one over there, I think that it's being affected by what's happening over here.
So I mean, is your feeling like, well, Eliza is always sort of hanging
nor did she die here. So this was her home. This is where she always wanted to be. So again, it makes sense that she would constantly come through. And I have enough evidence between her and Charles being here every night. I get something, whether it's out of that spirit box or even my own, that they recognize. That all makes sense and tie into her.
So is your feeling like, okay, she knows that someone who might detect her?
Find anything yet?
Nope.
Want to try the laser?
I have to be here and I do my question.
It's like a discotheque.
Like, it's straight to her. Hey, Eliza, can you tell me?
What are you supposed to do with this one? You see
This
it?
one?
Yeah.
So, what's he suggesting I
Yeah. I
do?
know.
So if something crosses, I'll see.
So
The
you'll see
dots will get
something
blocked,
cross.
yeah. That normally I might not see. It'll block the laser.
I can only imagine what those two are coming up with over there.
Yeah. Stay away from that. I don't recommend it.
Eliza, what was the name of your slave lovers?
So it almost feels like sometimes they think they're still alive, you know, that they're going to take sickness.
No, so much that.
Edward?
It just might be like well, I don't think Eliza's residual love. I think the Eliza spirit that's here is intelligent. Like I get direct answers. If I ask you what happened to the house on multiple occasions, you tell me it blew up. How did it blow up? Fire. What floor was it on? 2. And it's right above that corner where I go. So if I go up there and start asking about the house, I can usually get some answers out of it. So I would say out of the 6 nights I'm here, I do 12 tours a week. So I would say probably 4 to 5 out of those tours. Questions that I didn't give them the answers to. Like, hey, how many people are
Eliza, what year did you die?
he comes up with a number 5.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I usually check in periodically. He hasn't been screaming that he saw something, so.
I haven't seen
What are you guys
anything
hearing
yet.
on
Who
your-
was it? So no one said anything?
He hasn't seen anything on the video yet.
Okay. Things we've heard so far were. It sounded when I asked her what her maiden name was, like I sounded like twice she said Reed. Okay. Then I asked the daughter's name, didn't get anything. Asked how she died, and I thought she said something like fever or fear.
I think I heard fear.
It sounded like one of the 2 words. And then, we asked if she was a slave lover because Olivia wanted to ask that.
Yeah,
And
I
what?
just thought like maybe she was sick of the same old questions. So then I was like, did you have a slave lover? And then
What was
I
his
was like,
name?
wait, that was yes or no. I didn't ask that. And I was like, yes or no. And Emily heard Edward and I heard Blake. Like, what was your slave lover's name? No.
But didn't get how she died besides either.
You might get
either-
offended by that.
Well, that's what I said.
So, I don't have the list of their servants. I've dug for it, I cannot find it. I have all the historical records from Charleston too, so I use a lot of their websites. So the answers to those questions, and we're going to cut this one a little short just because I actually have to be off the streets by 11, like off of work. So we're actually running a little bit late, but that's okay for the next location. But I'll give you the answers real quick. So the maiden name was Lucas. The daughter's name was Harriet. Again, that's a lot to muster. That's a 3-syllable word. What happened to the mansion was a fire on the 2nd floor above this corner. So that's, you'll see, I usually wait to see where my spirit box person goes. And if they don't go, that's where I go because that's where I get all my activity. They get the words break free. That's interesting. What else did I ask? She died of cancer at the age of 70 while doing business in Philadelphia, and it's also where she's buried.
Oh, I forgot to ask for anything. I forgot to
That's
ask.
okay. Philadelphia's a lot, so I've gotten Philly. So it's almost like she caught on to the lingo that we call Philadelphia Philly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you gotta remember she's from colonial times, so it's just interesting that I got Philly that came through a spirit box one night. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll take it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a direct. Anything weird on the thermal imaging?
Nothing yet.
Okay. I did get the word house on my spirit box, but that's about all I heard because you and I were talking. Here. We're actually going to move on. We're going to go up to, we're going to walk about 4 blocks that way, and we're going to go up to Lodge Alley. So absolutely no lasers while we're on East Bay Street.
Okay.
That's very heavy traffic. Pictures, by all means, take as many as you want.
Okay.
If you want to even hand the camera over, like you guys can pass it back and forth, because
Okay.
her hands are a little bit more free than yours. Your EMF is going to go crazy on East Bay Street. Why is that? The parking meters. All of our electrical lines for the parking meters are underneath the sidewalk, so it's strong enough to make that thing go a little nuts. So you're really not going to pay any attention to it.
Okay.
So if you want to take the camera from her and hit a couple of, when you're taking pictures with that too, by the way, you want to be as still as possible because there is no flash.
Okay.
I don't want any false positives. That's
Okay.
why there's no flash. You also want to take 2 pictures of the same thing, so I have something to compare it by.
Always two of the same.
Reason wise, in case you catch something, the anomaly that I catch actually goes over to my wife. She's the expert. She'll tell me if it's legit. She's debunked quite a few pictures.
Really?
Oh yeah. So again, this isn't just me that's looking at this stuff. It goes over to my wife too. You're pretty quiet over there, man. You all right? Am I boring you to death?
No, I'm good.
All right. So
I'm just listening.
if it's going to be busy up there, like my mask will be hanging off my ear. So
Okay, yeah. we'll
masks
get
are
the
definitely
mask
in hand.
Okay.
So that way we're on the way path there. What is she doing? I did get the word club, like we're at the club from her music, apparently. Alright, everybody watch your step. It's 1 step up and 3 down. We got a tripper on our hands.
Yeah.
Food truck.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. You guys?
That's one question.
Wow. Not at the second.
You guys were like beating me
I
to
had the same
punch.
one. Comment about
Quick, everything starts lighting up though.
Oh, yeah.
It's hot. Ooh, slave market. Most slaves are sold.
Wait, this is the mark. Yeah. We're gonna have to take some of this equipment to Rose Hall.
Yeah. Good point.
We're gonna debunk Rose Hall.
So Nick, as we walk by,
I'll load up all this up. I'll go talk to
you know,
you can work it all.
Right.
said they did auction in place there, but then you read no, it was at the exchange.
Oh,
house.
that's the custom house.
So the market
There's a whole
was
bunch of them.
actually
Oh, there are.
Yeah, over different periods of time.
Oh, it's huge. I actually don't know if I've ever seen that one.
Yeah.
At the end of the market, the face meeting.
This is the East Bay.
East Bay, yeah.
Yeah, how do
Great over here.
we actually really haven't been over here.
Art gallery paperwork had to go through the restaurant.
Yeah. Nice.
Because they actually
the market for like foods and whatever.
Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, 2-0.
Wow.
Imagine there would have been a lot of beavers in there as well.
Septemer. What is that restaurant? That looks kind of cool.
Stone.
Yeah.
Oh, Carmela's. No, it's like Carmela's.
I've never heard of it.
Mellows or Fidelis?
Wait, is this Market Pavilion? I don't know.
This is a great restaurant. High cotton.
Oh, no, too.
Hyman, you saw Hyman's, yeah.
Or it's somewhere along here, I thought.
Oh, there's Snob,
Oh,
What's
okay.
Snob?
slightly north of Broad.
Oh, right.
That's what that guy was recommending.
Yeah, a lot of people have recommended that one. That looks good. Looks like a cool
Yeah,
place.
we should try that. Yeah, the guy from Kiwa highly recommended it.
Really?
This was actually the restaurant that we had the famous petty race. with Miller.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
High cotton.
So from here to the Wentworth?
From here to the Wentworth. It was a long way.
Here's Magnolia's.
Magnolia's. Have you guys been here?
No, but there's another place our
Yeah, we've been there.
landlord recommended.
Yeah, it's good.
The gin joint. We've been there.
How's that?
Emily did not like her cocktail.
I
Well,
got 3 different ones.
wow.
It was a little
2
too.
strikes and they were out.
Yeah, I guess that Market Pavilion where we stayed is over here somewhere.
So good.
Blossom. This is Blossom.
I like it over here.
It's great.
We didn't spend any time in this part of town.
Oh, we did a lot yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, this place is good. Hi.
Wish we could say the same.
Questions that you have.
Yeah, did you hear me?
I don't have the
What?
answers.
I know. Good luck. Right. I just was wondering how your take on it. No.
Very strict. So they kind of broke away from all that stuff.
Orthodox Christianity or Orthodox
No, it's a Christian.
Christian? Okay.
But it's a very strict.
Stop.
What? That's my job.
I know. Sorry.
Just doing my job.
Yeah.
He's just doing his job.
That's getting on your job.
Yeah. I have a brother who thinks he's Jewish, and he's actually a pretty big preacher out in his state. Like, he lives in Kansas, and he travels. He's got DVDs and all. Like, we are total opposite spectrums, but we understand. Like, he is who he is, and I am who I am. We don't talk religion. We don't talk about what I do for a living. We don't discuss it. We talk about our kids, our dogs, what's going on in our lives. We don't discuss what our jobs are. We just don't. Just to keep it kind of level, if that makes sense. So, welcome to Lodge Alley, everybody. This is one of the oldest streets in Charleston. So, these are clay bricks that y'all walk on. I know they're all unstable. But there's not many tours that come through here either. So let me tell you a little bit about what this place used to be. Obviously, this is a pretty new building that I'm leaning on. This building would have been after 1890, so probably 1895, 1900 roughly. But before that, it was actually a neighborhood. These were shacks or shotgun homes, whatever you want to call them, that lined the sides of the street. The cool thing is I actually have a full list of everybody that's ever lived here. So I get one gentleman that pops up all the time. His name is Benjamin. He'll come through as Ben on your spirit box, or he'll show his name Benjamin on mine. And a lot of times I'll get the name John right after that in common, and they both lived here in 1801. So it makes sense that they were the only 2 residents that lived here in 1801. Very cool stuff. They've done archaeological digs in between these clay bricks, which was part of their tools, their silverware, articles of their clothing, so they were able to classify these people as lower class. This, if you think too, Peninsula was skinnier, the water's that way, so low tide, this would not have been a very pleasant place to live. Just not.
Wait, what does the black mean again?
That's the coldest area. Do you have a shadow?
I think so.
Or is it just my dark soul?
Oh wait, no, it's stopping. It was just doing. Oh, is that anything?
I would say no. It's just fluctuating because your hand isn't perfectly stable.
No.
Probably be more prominent now that he's in the picture. Yeah, it's basically the air conditioning pouring out of the bottom of that door up there. I will say at times a little sliver of cold air will come up, but again, it could be either way. It could be a piece of air conditioning, it could be some spirit activity. I've tried that several times.
False alarm.
Yep. So,
That was exciting though.
also, this is where the Masons used to be. So before it was a neighborhood, the Masons would come down here and they would talk business. An open alley, but it was a street. So again, it was pretty open. I mean, this was as wide as it went. Everything else was landscape. But there was no buildings here. They would come down here on a hot night in suspenders and talk business. So this is an interesting place. A lot of history in this spot.
No.
Testing it out.
Yeah. The legs look weird.
So we're gonna actually walk up here. I've actually caught some shadows up in here before with thermal imaging and the digital camera. We're gonna be careful with the lasers once we leave the alley, just based on that's a neighborhood up there, so we don't want to be disturbing any of the people trying to go to sleep, wind down from the day. We're gonna cross the street, but who's got the camera now? You still have it?
Oh.
So once we all exit, you're gonna take a picture going the opposite way. You get
Okay.
a lot of. I mean, you could take some going this way now.
I've taken some.
Okay, good. Because I get a lot of weird light anomalies in here I can't explain. I get blue orbs all over this wall. We caught two just a few nights ago, actually, so really cool stuff. And I'm talking like solid blue orbs that were unexplainable. I sent them over to the wife, and she's like, "Yeah, that's not anything from the camera." So, all right. Take up this one. I'm not getting anything on my spirit box. Yours is recording, so obviously I'll have to listen to that down here in case something else pops up.
Okay.
And I'll definitely want to look into that black spot area.
Mine's recording?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. Even when it's on mute, it's still giving us a nice even sweep of that radio thing.
great.
Even when you can't hear it.
What should
That's
I
why-
ask every year?
You can just ask if you want to tell us your name as we walk through.
Okay. You want to tell us your name? What is your name?
Sorry.
So along with their list of names, it also gives you their occupation on that list. That's where I've caught my shadow figure before. That's the reason why I asked that. It was right in that area.
Were these something along this?
This is actually part of
Actually, you know why I think I stopped? I think I thought I felt like a cobweb.
the... Okay.
But I did. Unless
Because that theory is actually, I've heard of that before too. So if somebody's actually walking by like a spirit, it would feel like a cobweb would be.
it might have.
Interesting.
What's your name?
This is actually a blue-green. This is like
Uh-oh.
So it's actually named after this apple. They have their own claims of content in those, but none of them are relatable to history, so I never talk about them. So we're gonna let that pass through. How you doing, Leslie?
You want to tell us your name?
Yeah, you need to talk to it like a baby.
What's your name? Can you tell me your name? Instead of freedom of speech.
Love it. Bed and breakfast?
picture towards the shop.
Love that. What is that?
That's St. Philip's Church. It's the tallest steeple we have in Charleston.
Wow.
That's why it's named Church Street. Because of that church. Yeah. Alright, so before we walk into Philadelphia Alley, I tell the story out here because it's a very popular ghost tour area. And I don't like to be interrupted because they make it a big theatrical performance and then they all cut through. And every other tour in town goes up to 20. I keep mine at 10 so you guys get this personalized attention. So even you guys are a group of 5, even when there's 10, I'm still bouncing around with each person. You know, making sure everybody's having a good time, understands the gadget, is knowing what to do. So the story of this is it used to be called Dueler's Alley. Actually, do me a favor. Last night we caught a cold spot right next to that stop sign. It was actually, see how the shadow's down, like, say, southeast of the stop sign?
Mm-hmm.
It was actually northeast. So just kind of keep your camera on that for a minute. And then I felt a cold spot, but I couldn't find it with the ambient.
Last night or tonight?
Last night. So kind of keep it. So anyway, the story goes was that the Dueler's Alley, there was it's so quiet. You know my quiet?
Yeah, kind of.
I'm not gonna ask him. You want to answer? It's so quiet.
He's quiet.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got him studying.
He goes, he's so quiet. Is he always so quiet?
So there was a doctor that lived in Rhode Island, and he moved down to Charleston because he was supposed to get married to a young lady named Amanda. Amanda, her parents just died, and she inherited a bunch of money. The lawyer handling the money said, "Nope, you two aren't getting married. Send the doctor away, and let's go have him start his practice elsewhere to make sure he's not just after your money." So he moved to Charleston. He's going to do this. Wasn't anything exciting for you guys. But at any rate, so he comes down to Charleston and he's willing to do that. So the coachman that brings him into town set him up to be Robin Hood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not a very good start to his name.
No.
So we're talking about mid-1800s. And somebody walking by, and I want you guys to keep in mind too that the doctor was from Rhode Island, so with the initials RI. So that comes up here in a second. Somebody walking by named Ralph Isaacs, RI, and I say that because it comes up all the time on my spirit box. And on my the word list, just those initials. And I don't know if it's referring to the doctor where he came from or Ralph himself. But anyway, so Ralph walks by and he says, "You don't want to stay here, let me take you somewhere else." So he takes him to 59 Church Street, which is about a mile and a half up this way. The same street that the church is in. So he rents a room upstairs for these few young ladies, and he's doing well. Practice starts to take off, he's making a lot of money, and he becomes known as the Wisdom Doctor. So you can Google the Wisdom Doctor, and you'll get the very detailed version of the story. But anyway, him and Ralph become friends, and Ralph is a Charlestonian. He's from here. He's an attorney, just a regular guy. And the two used to go see plays together, but because the doctor was higher in society, they sat in different seats. So they used to talk about plays on the way home. When weren't you getting something? I think your cell phone was a little closer.
Oh, that might have been it.
Yeah. So they go see Richard III over at Dock Street Theater. They talk about the play on the way home because they were obviously not sitting next to each other. And the doctor loved the new actress. Ralph did not. Turns into an insult party on the doctor's fiance at home. The two get mad at each other. They go their separate ways. Freedom of speech. Ralph has ties with the Charleston paper. Writes in the newspaper what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston. He's not from here. He takes all our money. He's too expensive. Yada yada yada.
Oh, that's weird.
Right?
But I got that.
I don't think it's weird.
I mean,
that gets me
crazy.
excited.
Well, what did you get?
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of
Oh.
speech.
Before we got in here, we were pressing the
So the doctor rebuttals with, "We're going to settle this in Dueler's Alley. The loser of a duel is normally what? Dead. Yeah, they're done." They would go through, can everybody kind of see the opening on the wall? It's like straight ahead right here. Okay? That doorway's always been there. That's the original wall from Dueler's Alley. The loser would go through that doorway, through the courtyard, up to St. Philip's Cemetery, where their grave is already dug. They would drop them in, throw some dirt on them, and then they'd go celebrate the winner with a pint. It's kind of how stuff went back in the 1800s. That didn't happen. So the doctor and Ralph come down here, back to back, take 20 paces. They turn. The doctor points
They would do that here?
in the alley we're going to walk through.
Okay.
So you're going to see how long it is, and it's great picture spot. So when we get in there, nice still pictures.
Okay.
It's the most beautiful place in Charleston. I don't know if you've ever been through it. But
I've been through there before. It's
it's
cool.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot more history to that too. But so anyway, the doctor turns, he points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He wanted to make a point with what they were arguing about was stupid. He was willing to forgive about the insults against Amanda. However, Ralph takes 2 shots below the knees on the doctor. The doctor drops. So instead of going through the death gate, his friends pick him up and they take him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later. Now, it is said as you walk through here, you can hear the whistling of the doctor. It's not going to be loud. It's going to be a very slight whistle. I caught it twice in the year I've been doing this, where I could not debunk what was happening in the background. So when you guys are listening to your audio, you turn it up, especially in the car. It's going to be real faint. It's this quiet even during the daytime. Even with the hustle and bustle of East Bay Street, you can probably attest to this, it's pretty quiet here. They say you can also hear gunshots. I haven't caught any of that yet. Again, I don't make stuff up for you guys. However, the other ghost tours, they do the big bang scare as they're talking about the duel, and I'm like, yeah, I don't do theatrics. Give the story, let's ghost hunt. So a little bit more history about this place. As we walk all the way down to the end, the bricks are going to get older. These up here were replaced and repaired in the 1990s. As we get down to the edge, we have sun-dried bricks from slave kids. So they literally turn those bricks every hour in the sun to get them to bake. We have their fingerprints and 1 full handprint at the end. However, it is a residential area, so I can merely point it out with my toe and keep moving. We can't linger, so if we want pictures, have those cameras ready. It's not a proud moment for Charleston, but it is part of our history. I do think people get surprised that I talk about slavery in Charleston, so I don't want to say loosely, but it rolls off the tongue because it's just part of our history, unfortunately. And we actually have proof of it, and you're going to see it's a much smaller handprint that's actually down there. There's handprints in 3 different locations. I want to say that's Drayton Hall, here, and it's not Google Hall. But if you Google handprint Charleston, you'll get the newspaper article that'll tell you exactly where to find them. But it is an interesting thing to actually see. So let's take a walk down here.
What's the story with Ben?
Ben used to live here. Ben lived in Lodge Alley in 1801. He was a mariner, I think. So he was like a seaman. So he caught fish. But his name pops up constantly whenever I'm down there.
Okay.
That's all the info I have on him. He just wants to say hi. Craziness, right? It's the coolest guy we got tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah. Exactly, it's kind of cool. Tours alley. I went on a tour.
What?
We went on a tour. One of the first times I visited.
I sent my wife. She's like, Billy, I sent her one with like that. It's like they're all wavy and stuff. I'm like, I'm looking at this one. It's going the opposite direction. She's like, don't say this.
Were we supposed to close that gate?
Either way, they really don't care. Sometimes it stays open. It's already open when I get here. It's not a big deal.
Do you want to try the camera?
Sure.
I don't know if you want to.
Do you want? Okay. What do you do? Just point it?
Yeah. You try and get a.
Just hold it?
Yeah, it's better when you get somebody in focus because it gives you contrast with the heat.
How do you get them in focus?
Well, you have like a person in your screen, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
good. And I guess you're just looking for really dark spots or quick flashes.
Do you think you saw anything
No.
at all?
I don't think so.
Okay. I see someone.
What's this temp? Extra hot.
Ooh. 88, 89, 80, 89.
So the slightest movement is going to show what they see. And I know I'm going into something different, but I actually have a dog vision simulator. I used to work for Petco, and obviously I'm into my dogs. So see my watch? That makes sense. So go down here. That's what the dogs see. Yeah. So obviously the yellow, they see blues and yellows. They don't see reds. Any tone of red looks different. So anybody got red on? He's got red on his hoodie. So just kind of stand there for a second.
So they don't see in black and white.
No.
They see like
They see blues and yellows. So look
Get
at
that, Roya?
so even
Dogs?
look at the tree over here.
Yeah.
That's all the same color.
He's got the dog app. What the dog sees.
Oh, cool.
They only see blues and yellows.
Yeah.
So a dog that people claim that animals can see spirits, but seriously, if a shadow were to move through here, it's gonna look like the slightest thing to them. So it's gonna be a big deal. That's why they're like, shit, what is that? Like
Dogs.
dogs will.
They see blue and yellow, not black and white.
Right.
Oh.
So again, we're gonna
See
use
the bottom half of this screen.
Yeah.
the bottom half is
Dog
dog.
sees.
So they can't see red, oranges, and yellows. So look at his zipper. I know we're using it as an example.
That's good.
See the top, how we can see that? The dog's gonna see it in gray.
Ah, they've never appreciated my phone.
So they actually have diachromatic eyes, and we have triochromatic eyes, which gives us those extra rods and cones that way we can see more colors. Dogs just don't have as many, and they can't see as far away. So if it's something far away and it's actually moving, it's gonna scare them. If they won't go into a certain room, it's because there's an air current in there, or whatever. And again, there could be something there, but the more likely situation, the logical answer is that there's something in there that they are seeing that we're seeing in a different light. If that makes sense. So, oh, you guys switched up. I didn't realize that. I'm like, why does she have the camera?
I'm thinking maybe she'll get more luck. I don't know if I had the touch.
Well, it's not even that you have the touch. I blow this up on my TV. So when I'm reviewing that data, yeah, it's a small screen. I basically just need a camera person all night so I can watch it in the morning. Because I upload it to YouTube and then I send it over to my website. So you guys have all the evidence in one spot. But then on YouTube, I can watch it on my TV.
Right.
So that way I can see the smallest little things. See what you got.
That's right. These places.
It like players. I don't know.
Underground poker ring? I'm also happy to switch back if you don't want to carry that.
Oh, I don't mind until you want it. I just want to take a picture of this sign. You don't?
I'm indifferent. I have no luck.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, the power button for you is at the top.
Oh, okay.
That's more people looking towards it. Yeah, we got a full moon on Thursday.
This upcoming Thursday?
Yeah, so this is a weird year for October. We have 2 full moons.
Oh, really?
Wait, I just got very clear. It's like we're gonna read you books. I don't know what that means.
We're going to read your books?
We're gonna read you books.
Wow. Did we pass the bricks with the handprint already?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't see it? I'll
No.
show you.
Point out to her. But as far as that goes, the doctor actually has a book.
There it is.
That? Aw. Oh my gosh. That's so sad. Wow. Thank you. car. I think I have some. Yeah.
I have some.
I have some. Yeah.
What do you think?
Interesting.
Tomorrow's writing.
Right.
Like I'll do your guys' evidence and dive right into writing.
Writing. Huh.
Plus, I got to do a podcast episode this week because I didn't do one last week.
You have a podcast?
Yep, that's how all this started. It was with a podcast. All my investigations go into a podcast, so it's kind of like, it's almost like the TV show, but I tell you if the place is truly haunted or not, and then I discuss the evidence that I found.
Awesome.
So, I've done a lot of really weird
What's
places.
your podcast called?
Stories in the Cemetery.
Stories in the Cemetery. Right.
Yep.
I'll have to check it out.
So we got, and it's actually at the top of your evidence page, so you can actually kind of just check it out, see if you like it, and then you can subscribe.
Yeah.
So we got one last place to look at. We're here on time. We're going to 11. We're cutting it close. I don't think I did anything. I didn't see any. We have actually tour guide police.
You do?
To do. Like, that's a thing.
So we don't want to get you in trouble.
No, we're fine. I didn't see any tonight.
This is clean.
Yeah. So the building behind you is the Wagner building. That used to be a cotton warehouse. The big brick building, not that one.
Oh.
That's not that one. I'm like, where are they looking?
I'm like, pink concrete building.
I usually say catty corner, but most people down south look at me like I have three heads. They don't know what that means. So anyway, George Poirier was the last person who had it as a cotton warehouse, and he inherited the business from his dad. The kid had no clue what he was doing, silver spoon kid, and he got himself into a bunch of debt really fast and threw his inheritance pretty quickly. So he needed to get out of the business. Not to mention, we also had the boll weevil in town. That's a bug that eats cotton. So he doesn't want to sell it to the Americans because he doesn't want to leave the crop here. So what's he do? He sells it to the British. Now, the front of this building actually faces kind of a park and the benches presented. Again, come up a little much closer so you can see the ship rolling in. So you unload all this cotton back here. Those are the original garage doors. Horse and buggy go out to the ship. And somebody gets too close to the cotton on the ship with a pipe. The whole ship catches on fire and everybody dies.
Oh my.
George watches the whole thing from the second story
Of this building.
of this building. So he's already depressed.
So what, the ship is right near here? I
The
don't...
ship would have been in the front.
Okay.
They unloaded from back here because this was the warehouse. The businesses were in the front, like the office was in the front. So that's where he's watching from the second story of his office. So your online stories will tell you it's the third story, but my data and evidence always says the number 2, second. So we look at the second story. So at any rate, so
he's already depressed.
can't pay off all his American debts because the British didn't give him enough to pay it all off, and his dad's legacy is gone. So he piles up all the furniture, puts a captain's chair on top, and he hangs himself.
Oh.
They say you can see the shadow of a swinging corpse in the second story window. So with the thermal imaging, we're going to get a nice slow feed on the second story all the way across to see if anything turns a darker blue. Again, you might not catch it tonight. I'm going to watch it in the morning. Pictures of this building also help, no matter how dark they are. I can always lighten them up if something shows up. We're good to go, and I'll see what I can find in there. The other thing that actually happens when I'm looking at this building is we have Poogan's porch is actually up this way. So has anybody eaten there before?
Yeah, we ate there last week.
Okay, so it's also haunted. Poogan was a dog.
Oh.
Poogan was the name of the dog that the construction crew fed when they were turning that place into a restaurant. The dog died. He was a stray, but he used to hang out there all the time. So the construction crew got kind of attached and put the memorial on the grounds, and the new owners decided to name it after the dog. So it's Poogan's porch. But that place used to be a house. It belonged to a woman named Zoe St. Amand. Now she comes up all the time, and I know it's her because she spells her name Z-O-E, not Z-O-E-Y. And it comes up often. She lived with her sister Elizabeth, and Zoe was a school teacher. She died in the house by falling down the stairs. All of those clues come through. Elizabeth, stairs, Zoe, dog. I get all of those type of terms, and if you notice, most of them are 1 to 2 syllables. If you ask Zoe what her house looks like now, she'll give you other simple terms: table, food, spoon, fork, things that relate to a restaurant, because restaurant is a lot to muster up.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard restaurant in the past. That's a lot of energy. I
Yeah.
didn't expect it. So as we're walking along, we definitely want to listen to the spirit box. Keep in mind, these are condos back here now. People live there. They can't really hear us, but kind of keep it at an audible level. Your EMF, let's see if we get a spike alongside, because it's going to go nuts at the front because of the parking meters again. You know what to do with the thermal imaging camera. We're going to do a quick test because we don't have any helicopters out tonight. There's a peak. Everybody see the peak at the very back of the building at the very top?
Yeah.
At the very front of the building is the same peak, obviously, because it runs all the way through, but it's covered in a stone. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to get the temperature of that stone along the top. The same type of stone is inlaid into the brick 5 feet below it. 7 to 12 degree difference is normal because of the wind coming in off the water.
Right.
Anything more than that, we're probably going to have something go on. I got the name James. I'm going to have to really pay attention to what goes on with the spirit box in the morning if you're getting up to a 30 degree difference. I've had up to 30 degrees difference. That makes no sense. I mean, it's a little breezy tonight.
Yeah.
So 15 degrees, it's still kind of like, all right, yeah, no, no. But anything higher than that, I'm like, I've seen 30 degrees. It's crazy. Wow. So we're going to cross.
So I do that on the front of the building.
On the front of it, because it's stone, and I know it's the same type of material. Bricks, as you can see, there's all different types of bricks in there. I know the stone is one type of material because it's inlaid into the brick, and then the other stuff's at the very top, and that will sheet is at the very top. And there's nobody in front of the building, so we can play with lasers and stuff. So that. Again, James could have been one of the workers in the warehouse. I just don't have that list either.
Whoops, just a cup.
Alright, so with your camera, see the second story windows? Just get me a nice slow pan of all those windows. And Anthony, let's get your gun shot up to the top. Keep going, right up there. Keep going. What do you got?
White, I have 65.
Okay, now go down to the one below it. Right there. So about 10 degrees. That's about normal. A little breezy. That was a big string of words. We'll run by 15 seconds and start over. So that way you guys have an audio marker to go back and check it out. Or trauma. Alright, so we don't have much of a difference on his temperature gauge. And you got us a nice slow sweep on there.
I tried to. I
Okay.
mean, just like this. But.
Okay, I can do it frame by frame.
Okay.
That's the beauty of computers. I love it. So I said nice and slow. I can kind of see where we're going with things, and that way I can watch the different gauges of this. So what do you guys think? Did we catch some ghosts? I gotta convince my
I
skeptic
don't know.
here.
65 though, I'd never
I didn't
gotten
catch
as
any.
low as 65 on that. So that was low.
But I'm
On
also a
that
data
thing.
guy. You know.
Yeah, he needs the data in the morning.
We'll see the data.
So I'm gonna start collecting. We'll do your spirit box last, so we have a little bit longer of a recording and see if anything pops up. And then I'll get you guys my card.
I like your Casper mask.
Oh, so my mother-in-law, I started her an online store because she was selling them to, like, she's a nurse. So she was selling them to her friends at work. I'm like, these are actually quality. So I have like Casper, I got deaths and skulls and crossbones and all the stuff for the tour. I just keep sending her material and she just makes them for me. She
I love
lives-
Casper.
I have a Casper shirt that I wear for the tour too, so usually I'm matching. So I'll take yours. And where's the yellow one? Do you still have that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere.
I took the battery tester from you already.
Yeah, you did.
So the other night, and actually bought it like a big case because I have batteries in bulk because my wife works at Best Buy. So I wanted something nice to keep all the batteries in instead of all the different packages.
Sadly, I failed at the laser.
It's okay.
Did you get anything on your laser?
Nothing. Nothing.
So
Not for lack of effort.
No, definitely not for lack of effort. But a lot of times too, they'll come up in a picture where somebody saw something and we start taking more pictures around it. But since you didn't see anything, we didn't draw a camera to you. But in case something pops up on thermal, something might come up that way because you guys did cross streams at times. So, but you guys actually did really good. You guys had a ton of questions, which is awesome. So,
Is it?
Yeah.
Thank you. You were
Keeps me
very informative.
Yeah, it was
Good.
great.
Good. I usually don't pull out the dog simulator for everybody, so.